If you see ICE disappearing people in the streets, will you get in the way? Yes! If you are charged with enforcing any part of the president's unlawful executive orders, will you resist? Yes! If your neighbor needs a place to hide, will you hide them? Yes! And right now, as the Maine legislature is trying to scapegoat transgender student athletes bargaining long-held civil rights away in hopes that it will save Maine's federal funding, will you show up for them and say that our human rights aren't for sale? Yes! Thank you.
I'm Charlie. This is Larry, and this is the Larry and Charlie Show. What the shit was that?
That is the. I really have a serious question. Serious question is, why is it every time we see, and there's tons of videos, I mean hundreds and thousands of videos of this kind of thing where there are these rallies, and why is it that every time somebody's up there talking, they're fat, they're ugly, and you can't tell if they're a guy or a woman?
I'm going to tell you why. It's fat suburban white women. Fat suburban white women are the biggest problem in this country. And I can say that because I'm a fat suburban white guy.
That's true.
And fat suburban white women will ruin this country if you let them. She's up there in a mask 3 years after the goddamn pandemic.
Right.
Yelling about what the... She's going to go obstruct justice? Good. Put her in jail. Take it to El Salvador.
No matter everything Trump's doing, this is ridiculous. Okay, and it just shows the degree of mental illness that's running across our country.
I know.
And I think we need to pay more attention to that than anything else.
She reminds me of Kim Jong-un's brother.
Yeah.
No, Kim Jong-un's daddy. No, he was Kim Jong-il. No, that was his brother, mentally ill.
Mentally ill.
Yeah.
Yes, it was him. Whatever it was, that was hideous. But we're going to continue with hideous, because last week, and I hope you saw our show, but we failed to have our Jasmine Crockett moment. So, not to disappoint, here's Jasmine.
Comes the crazy bitch.
He also called you low IQ. I'm sure you're aware of that. Would you be willing to take an IQ test publicly, head-to-head against the President of the United States?
Absolutely.
Yeah, IQ. Now, here's the thing. Okay, she could take an IQ test, but there's no pass-fail on an IQ test.
No, but the number is not going to be good.
The number is going to be rather poor. And the fact of the matter is that she has the arrogance to even think that she could do something like this. But that's the way it is with these young Turks, or whatever they call themselves. Yeah. The squad. The squad keeps growing, too. Here's another example. Here's the leader. This is now the leader.
I think she
of
is
the Democrat Party.
She is surpassed Chucky, and she's up there at the top.
She's at the top,
and they should let her be up at the top.
I'm rooting for her.
They should let her talk and let her do everything she wants to.
I agree.
Play the big booty Latina.
Here it goes.
The world is going to end in 12 years if we don't address climate change.
This dude is probably one of the most unintelligent billionaires I have ever met or seen or witnessed.
Before you say it, I know. She's stupid, but I'd hit that. I mean, she's got a nice round figure to her.
Oh, I mean, there's no question she has a body.
Teeth are kind of big, though.
Yeah.
But other than that, I mean, she's
yeah.
set up, if you know what I'm saying.
But this is the irony is that we have Jasmine Crockett in the previous video saying she's going to take an IQ test against Trump, and then we have AOC saying that the stupidest man alive is the smartest man alive.
That's almost like a bartender calling a rocket scientist stupid.
Yeah.
In fact,
that's what it
is. A bartender calling a rocket scientist stupid.
Unbelievable.
But she does have a nice ass. And I'll tell you, you might disagree with me, but it's, it almost makes her tolerable sometimes.
There's a thing that I've forever believed in, especially on TV. Like if you go to any town, what's the highest rated news? local news.
Yeah.
It's the one with the hottest
Oh yeah.
female. Okay.
The weather girl with the big bazoon.
That's
usually
it.
gets
That's right.
in the,
And I've been yelled at, especially at home, when I've called it the fuck factor.
Yeah.
But she has an incredibly high fuck factor. She's gonna go far.
It's true.
And AOC has a high fuck factor, so people are gonna want to follow her.
Especially in Congress, I mean,
Oh,
there's not that many beautiful fish in that tank. It's not a
No.
shop. She's a saltwater fish in a freshwater tank.
there's no question. There's no question.
I mean, who else you gonna bang? Pelosi? What's the next video?
Anyways, we found this one. This is a. I can't even explain this one. I think
Pelosi
we
does have some big tits though,
Yeah, but they bought.
and paid for.
I'm paid for
Play the
many
video.
times.
We watch.
We found this video, and quite frankly, I don't know what to say about it. I'm going to let you look at it and you decide.
And here's State Senator Jamie Peterson. This is just incredible. Listen here.
Kids over 13 have the complete right to make their own decisions about their mental health care. Parents don't have a right to have notice. They don't have a right to have consent about that.
Is that really what they think?
Young women have, if they're old enough to get pregnant, they're old enough to make their own decisions about what happens with their bodies, okay? And parents do not have the right to change that or make a different decision or be notified in advance.
What do you mean?
What the fuck was that?
What do you mean parents don't have any rights over their children? What
Yeah,
the shit are you talking? This is why so many people vote. If you're a Democrat and you're watching this and you're mad, this is why people vote Republican and not Democrat, because you're fucking crazy. What do you mean parents don't have any rights over their children if their kid wants to get a hormone therapy and all this shit? You don't have any right to know about it. You don't have any right to do anything about it. What?
that's the amazing thing to me is the arrogance of all this. Yeah, and you see it. Doesn't matter who. You see him on TV. You see him pontificate, and their theory is this: I got elected, therefore I'm smarter than everybody else. Right? So they keep pontificating on shit. They have no idea what they're talking about.
They can't pontificate. The pontiff died the other day.
God rest his soul. But this guy, he makes no sense.
He doesn't. And
Doesn't
that's
make
why
any sense.
that's why nobody's going to vote for the Democrats. They may get elected in small elections, and there's Democrat pockets where they're going to vote Democrat no matter what. But this is why you're losing national elections. If you want to know, this is why.
That's it.
Because you're a fucking moron.
That's it. That's it. There's nothing left to your platform that has any credibility.
No.
Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
And we know you don't really believe it either, because you'd have to be a bleeding moron to think that anybody would go for this.
No, don't sell them short. They really are bleeding
Oh,
out.
shit.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, here comes our favorite part of the show. It's Father Knows Best.
All right. This segment is called Father Knows Best. What'd you think?
I thought it's a little ridiculous that someone has green hair and you don't actually know what it is.
Enough said. What the fuck was that? I can't hit the button. Where's the goddamn button? Is that the button? Wait, is it right here? This is it right here. Right there.
Did you like it, Charlie?
Oh, it's great.
Did you find it entertaining?
I found it very amusing.
There you go.
Why would I want to belong to and endorse a godless party? Because there is no such thing, and I mean no such thing as a trans child. We have confused children and sick enabling adults.
Next speaker is Peyton Jackson, who will be followed by Carolina Rodriguez.
Good afternoon, Council. When I first announced my run for Congress, I had this random white woman, liberal, walk up to me and ask, well, what about you isn't Democrat? To which I responded, well, besides my skin color, what about me is Democrat. And it was at that very moment that she realized that God gave her enough common sense to ask me about my values. Now, don't get me wrong, I was raised to vote Democrat down the ballot. So when I first started, I would say things like, I'm a Republican, but I'm not a conservative. But now I know all too well I am a full-fledged, hardcore conservative, and I'm proud of it. I mean, my favorite saying is I was born black, not Democrat. But in all seriousness, whenever I began to think for myself politically, the choice was easy. I mean, why would I want to belong to a party whose mission is to infringe on the Second Amendment as if a criminal would ever participate in something like a mandatory buyback? Why would I want to belong to and endorse a godless party? Because there is no such thing, and I mean no such thing as a trans child. We have confused children and sick enabling adults. Why would I want to belong to a party that takes pride in shedding innocent blood? Number one, as if that's not what God hates. Number two, as if there's not a black market for baby organs. And number three, as if abortion clinics didn't start in the hood. Because if you think Trump is bad, you should research exactly who Margaret Sanger was. But speaking of the black community, why would I want to belong to a party who's responsible for the foundation of the Triple K? But it's not just that. Supposedly in the 1900s, the party switched, right? But what never changed, what I noticed never changed, is Democrats' love for immigration and how they have always prioritized that over the black community. I mean, imagine every single Democrat leader helping you joke about what a black job is in 2024, exposing your ignorance on 1924 and how imperative the Immigration Act of that year was, how it was all reversed in 1965 with the Hart-Celler Act, how Congress refuses the advice of the Rockefeller Commission and the Hesburgh Commission, and how to this day they refuse to adopt the Barbara Jordan Blueprint, validating every single thing that Dr. Claude Anderson spoke of generally, but specifically what Mrs. King spoke of in 1991 with her letter to Congress. Now look, I'm not saying that the Republican Party is perfect. No, nobody's perfect. What I'm saying is I side with Malcolm X when he said that the liberals were the worst thing that could ever happen to the Western Hemisphere, but y'all ignore that, just like how y'all ignore LBJ saying, and I quote, I'm going to have Negroes voting Democrat for the next 200 years, and by God, 60 years later, I see no sign of recourse, but rest assured your vote is your voice, even if it is a whisper. Thank you, Council. Mayor Parker, whenever you're ready, you can call your next speaker.
That was a very intelligent young lady.
Mm-hmm. She was.
She was. And she spoke eloquently for the black community.
I'm telling you, she was rolling fact after fact after fact. And none of the made up bullshit or talking points, just rolling facts.
No, it was, I mean, I sat there and I looked and I kept going, wow.
And it really shows that the black community is not just voting Democrat anymore because they're black, as well as the Hispanic community.
Right.
People got hurt by the fake virus. Not that it was a fake virus, but it was,
that was overblown.
Fake panic.
Right.
Fake panic. And masks didn't work, and the vaccine was probably more dangerous for you. Also, inflation and loss of jobs to other countries. And everybody was affected by that. And black people and Hispanic people are not just voting Democrat because they're black and Hispanic anymore.
Right. Right. And as she said in the video, LBJ, when he started instituting the Great Society, and he put that in place, his comment was, "We now have the black vote for 200 years."
And you can read that. I mean, that's down.
That's a fact. That's a fact, and that's all based off of everything that you're seeing is based off of Klavan and Piven.
Piven, yeah.
The two sociologists who wrote a book in the 60s, in the mid 60s, that really became popular in the early 70s. Mm-hmm. And their whole theory was take the system and overwhelm it. So the concept of the welfare state, okay, which was supposedly designed to help people, was actually leveraged to the point of trying to break the system.
Absolutely.
And the victims ended up being the black community.
And it was all done
and
by
that's
design.
Generations, okay?
It was all done by design. And it was on purpose. And there's theory behind it. And it's all written down. You can go read it anytime you'd like.
Any way you want. And the wonderful thing is that over the last 18 months or so, the black community is really woke. Mm-hmm. They've awoken. They're not woke. They're awoken, where they're starting to see and ask those questions, especially the African American male.
Right.
I'm going to show you a clip of what I'm talking about.
You know who's not?
Who's that?
Fat suburban white women.
No, they're helpless. They're helpless. Watch this and tell me what you think.
Democrats in liberal Hollywood, I know y'all losing y'all minds seeing all these black people and celebrities come out as Trump supporters lately. All that fucking around. You remember all that fucking around stuff y'all were doing for the last 4 years? Well, congratulations. You're now living in the find out era. Remember when y'all let men dress as women and compete against women in women's sports and thought we were just going to let it slide? Remember when y'all fired first responders and our military for not going along with your COVID fear mongering? Remember when you created a virus and then unleashed that virus onto the world and made billions of dollars from it? Remember when you were trying to force pronouns down our throat and had teachers hanging up rainbow flags in the classroom telling kids they could be whatever gender they wanted to be? Remember when y'all stole billions of taxpayer dollars and put it in your own pockets? Remember when y'all still had Joy Reid on TV? Remember when you had a sniper climb on top of a roof and try and shoot, and you remember? But just in case you don't remember, you're about to find out, because America's back, baby. Oh, and to all you liberal elite celebrities and politicians that's on that Epstein list, you better run and hide, little piggies.
Like what he had to say too.
Another example, and that gives me hope. And you know, I'm a common sense guy. Okay, yeah, I mean, the Republican Party has pissed me off as much as the Democrat Party.
I mean, that's
I can't say I'm a proud Republican. I'm far from it.
I'm a conservative.
I'm a conservative as well.
Yeah.
All right, but forever I've been called a racist, a homophobe, and all this. And quite frankly, you know, that's never been an issue in my life.
Yeah.
Because I've never looked at somebody as a black or a Hispanic. I got friends of all colors, all creeds.
Yeah.
Right? And it doesn't matter to me. I don't even think about it.
Yeah.
And I think the Enlightenment is beginning to really happen. And what that young gentleman said, okay, really had impact. Okay, moving on. Lately, this week, there was a thing about COVID, where Trump took the COVID website and they re-engineered it. And by re-engineering it, they basically told the truth.
These it's hard to call them. These reporters are propagandists. Reporters.
Oh yeah.
These reporters who happen to be propagandists, they were saying the whole time that Donald Trump was saying that this came from a lab in China and that it was engineered. No, you don't know how you would know. Now, you'd have to be an idiot not to know that, because it started in Wuhan, China, and in Wuhan, China, there is a novel coronavirus lab.
Right, which we funded.
Which we funded through Fauci and Gates and the rest of these assholes and the U.S. government, dumb son bitches they are. And then that's where the epicenter was, and people died and all. So if you didn't know it came from a lab, you were a friggin' moron.
Exactly.
But
exactly. Now,
if you were a fat suburban white woman, you thought it came from eating a bat. Fat suburban white women believe shit like that.
That's true. They do. They do. Here's an interesting. The press is constantly trying to challenge again.
Fat suburban white women.
Yeah, Carolyn Levitt. What's your response?
She's not a fat one. That shit's
no. I know she's fine.
In recent days, the CIA actually revealed that they do also believe that COVID-19 was from a lab leak in Wuhan, China. How is the president planning on responding to this additional intel from the CIA, and will it impact how he responds to them with tariffs?
Yeah, kudos to John Ratcliffe for revealing that truth and that fact to the American people. Many years too late, the Biden administration had a chance to let the American people know the truth about that, and for some reason, they chose not to. I also would just like to point out that several years ago, when I was working in this press shop and President Trump would take to this podium to brief the American people on COVID-19, he suggested that COVID very well may have came from a lab in Wuhan, China. And many members in this very room mocked him for that, said he was spewing conspiracy theories. He was not. We now know that to be the confirmable truth. It took many years for it to come out, but the president was right in this instance again.
Well, I think she set the record straight. Oh, by the way, did you know Carolyn Levitt is a graduate of the same college I went to?
I had no idea.
Yes.
I didn't even know you went to college.
I attended college. Okay, I graduated, but I attended. I didn't. But anyways, yep, St. Anselm College in Manchester, New Hampshire. I was a class of 1979, and she was the class of 2019. I guess there's a little gap between us. But
Well, don't worry about it, Larry.
What the hell? Anyways.
Thanks for that tidbit.
Yeah, anyways, as you can see, but she knows how to handle the press, doesn't she? She takes no crap from nobody. Well, that wraps up our show tonight. We thank you for watching. And if you would, please like, subscribe. If you're on Rumble, please subscribe. We need subscribers on Rumble desperately. And our viewership on Rumble's been doing very well.
Download Rumble. Rumble is a platform that they don't have all the censorship that YouTube does. It's got all the same shows.
That's right. That's right. How many times were we?
Jesus Christ. YouTube has thrown our little asses off so many times.
Right. Nobody watches us, but we still got thrown off.
Us and all 5 subscribers.
All right. Until next week. Talk to you later.
Watch this phallical shit.
I'm here to rip the veil off this satanic charade. A phallic-shaped rocket, a throbbing monument to Bezos' ego, carrying a coven of space harlots.
Whoa. That's amazing.
Lesbian pop star icon Katy Perry, Oprah's secret lover Gayle King, and Jeff's AI program sex puppet Lauren Sanchez. And that's hard for me to say because I love big booty Latinas, but it's true.